Hi guys, it's Miss DeNovo here. During our Zoom meeting today, got some questions about the practice quiz, especially um, because you're doing the practice quiz obviously to practice, and if you can do the practice quiz, you should be able to do the actual quiz. Um, what I'm going to show you how to do is copy these things down, and I'm going to show you exactly what they mean by evaluate expressions and solve expressions or solve equations. When you take the practice quiz, though, these questions will shuffle and you might get a different question, but that doesn't mean you can't solve it the same way. So, first things first, you're going to have to copy these expressions onto a sheet of paper or something in order for you to actually do the math work. I know it's a pain, but it is what it is. I mean, if there's somehow a way that you can type this a little bit easier, that's fine. But I have to write everything down. So I just took a second to write this down. And now I'm going to show you the document camera. So the first two questions on my practice quiz were asking me to evaluate this expression if the value of x equals 9. So evaluate means tell what the whole value is if we were to simplify this. And this is like somebody solved an equation and got this. So I'm literally going to take this value of x, which is 9, and I'm going to substitute. Every time I see an x, I'm going to substitute and put a 9 in instead. So I have the square root of 9 plus 5 times 9 plus 2. So then I'm going to use like order of operations to evaluate this expression. One thing we usually don't talk about is square roots in an order of operations. But if you were to square something, that's your first thing after parentheses, right? Parentheses, exponents, multiply or divide in the order it comes, add and subtract in the order that it comes in the expression. So I can go ahead and look at this and say square root of 9 is 3. Now I have to add what's in my parentheses first, and then I would multiply it by 5. So I end up with 3 plus 55. Oopsie, I keep wanting to do that. Is 58. So in my practice quiz, I'm going to go back in and type in 58. Yes, it's time consuming, but hey, there's only 5 questions on this. So the second one, they told me to evaluate the expression if x is equal to negative 4. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to put a negative 4 in every time I see that x. Now you're going to follow the order of operations. So I've got a negative 4 and a negative 6 is negative 10. That's going to be multiplied by 5. Plus 3 times negative 4 is negative 12 minus 2. Go over here and do this multiplication. It's negative 50 plus negative 12 minus 2. Well, if you'll notice, these are all negative numbers. So we talked about the additive inverse property and all this other stuff when we were at school. If they are all negatives and basically they're being added together, my whole number is just going to be more negative. Negative 50 and negative 12 is negative 62. Minus 2 more or adding 2 more negatives is negative 64. So then you go back into here, negative 64. Then we have questions like these, question 3 and 4, where I actually have to solve the equation. I'm copying this down as I'm talking. When we were back in the school building, Miss Hammond and I had given you guys all kinds of different graphic organizers to help you remember the steps for those things because there's a lot of steps. So if you were on the Zoom call this morning, or this afternoon rather, You heard first step I need to do is look and see, do I need to use the distributive property? Do I need to use the distributive property? If you see parentheses, then the answer is most likely yes, because this means I'm going to take 4x minus 4 8 times. So instead of just adding 4x minus 4 8 times, which is a lot, we're doing this distributive property where we multiply 8 times 4x, 32x, 8 times negative 4 is negative 32. Now, do I have any parentheses over here? Nope. So I'm just going to copy that side of the equation. Second thing I need to look for, are there any like terms that I can combine? So remember, terms are the different pieces of the expressions and equations. If it has a variable next to it, it means we're multiplying. There are no other terms on this side with variables. So there's no like terms. There's no other constant numbers on this side. No like terms. No like terms over here either. So the next thing I'm doing, I am adding and subtracting the same thing on both sides of the equation, because that equal symbol means the same. So this needs to be the same thing done to either side of the equation. Otherwise, it's not going to be an equals anymore. So here I have a negative 5x, and I have a positive 32x. I'm going to add 5x to both sides of this. Now, why am I doing that? Because I'm trying to isolate the x value. I'm trying to isolate the variable so I can figure out what its value is. Well, if I do a negative 5x and a positive 5x, that's a zero pair. So now all I have is a negative 32 on that side of the equation. 32x plus 5x is 37x minus 32. Now when I did this the first time, I noticed something kind of weird. I have a negative 32 on both sides. So right away I'm thinking, I already know what this answer is going to be. If I add 32 to both sides so that I can keep my x value on one side, I literally have 37 times x equals 0. Well, the only thing that is going to make this stay equivalent or be a true statement is when I divide by 37. 0 divided by 37, 0 divided by anything is 0. So in this case, x equals 0. And I'm going to go put that into my quiz answers in a minute. So my number 4 in the quiz looks like this. 2 times 6x plus 1 equals 4 times x minus 5 minus 2. So do I need to use distributive property? Yes, I do, because I see these parentheses here. 2 times 6x is 12x. 2 times 1 is 2. Now I'm going to look at the right side of the equation. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. And then I've got that minus 2. Do I have any like terms I can combine? Well, on the left side, no, I don't. I have a variable and a constant. On the right side, though, I have a variable and these two constants that I can combine. Negative 20 minus 2 is going to be negative 22. And then I still have the 12x minus 2. So now I'm going to start adding and subtracting the same thing to both sides of the equation. Remember, my goal is to have the variables on one side of the equation. And I'm going to start this way. I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides, because now this is a 0 pair. I have a negative 22 here. 12 minus 4x, 8x plus 2. So I'm done looking at my variables for now. I still need to subtract the 2 from both sides. So now at least my variable is on one side and I have a constant on the other. I have one more step. I need to divide by 8. Why am I dividing by 8? Because I want to know what the value of 1x is. 8x's is equal to negative 24. So if I divide both sides by 8, squished up, running out of room, x is equal to negative 3. Negative 24 divided by 8. So that question 3, I got x equals 0. Only enter numerical answer. Down here we got negative 3 and 1. Oh, there's 2 more. Sorry, my bad. Oh, 3. Oh,